Donald Trump is panicking as the Ayatollah from Iran issued a direct message to him, threatening him, telling him to back down, and Donald Trump is not handling it well. Ayatollah Khomeini Mojtaba, that is, posted the following message. The shaken Zionist regime and the cancerous tumor of Israel are approaching the final stages of their wretched existence. What is certain in this regard, the Ayatollah says to Trump, is that the hands of time will not turn back, and the nations and lands of the region will no longer serve as shields for U.S. bases. The United States will no longer have a safe haven for its mischief and for establishing military bases in West Asia. He also said that America is, quote, moving further away from its former position day by day, and with each passing day, the United States grows weaker. Also, in conjunction with the Ayatollah's message to Donald Trump, the IRGC posted videos showing the radar footage of the MQ-9 Reaper that it shot down over the Strait of Hormuz, and it also showed that it had the capability of striking down a U.S. F-35. The radar showed that it was locked in, and all Iran had to do was press the trigger and the F-35 would have been destroyed. It's supposed to be able to evade radar detection, and Iran was showing that it could bring down F-35s, and they showed this video at the same time the U.S. is trying to sell F-35s to Canada while attacking Canada, and Canada's now looking to buy the Sweden Gripen and looking for other potential military devices because the Trump regime has demonstrated to be so unreliable as well. We're also learning more about Donald Trump's disastrous Board of Peace. The Financial Times just reporting that Trump's Board of Peace, sure, it's raised these big pledges for Gaza reconstruction, but 4 months later, the official fund has no money in it and no rebuilding projects have even started. $0, donut hole, no money at all. And when you actually have other countries that are there to verify, unlike when Donald Trump says, I brought in $18 trillion or $21 trillion, which he brought in zero, all of that's a lie. We actually see what's going down. Donors appear to be bypassing the World Bank managed fund, while legal, political, and security disputes have left the organization stuck in limbo, aka another bankruptcy for Donald. And there was never really a Board of Peace. As I heard politicians say, as I heard Gavin Newsom say, and Ossoff say, and others, the Board of Peace was about getting pieces of the Middle East with Netanyahu and not actually bringing peace. There was no ceasefire in Gaza. Hundreds and hundreds of people were killed on a weekly basis in Gaza during the so-called ceasefire. And they're like, there was never a from day one, we said there was never a ceasefire there. And there's purportedly, a ceasefire in Lebanon, but we see all of these, quote, mass evacuations that are being ordered by Israel as areas in Beirut and southern Lebanon are absolutely leveled, killing so many innocent people, killing so many medics under the auspices of, we're going after Hezbollah. But there are so many innocent people who are dying, which is absolutely disgusting and completely unacceptable. Oh, yeah. And Donald, you know your friend Erdogan, the president of Turkey? Remember when you said, I am hereby making it a formal stipulation if the United States is going to enter into a peace deal with Iran, all Arab nations must join the Abraham Accords and enter into deals directly with Israel, right? I talked about yesterday how Saudi Arabia is like, yeah, we ain't doing that until there's a Palestinian state and East Jerusalem is its capital. Pakistan said, yeah, we ain't doing it. Qatar's like, yeah, not happening. We're not doing it. Here was the response from Donald Trump's buddy Erdogan. God willing, this tyrant called Netanyahu will receive the lesson he deserves from the Muslims of the world. I think that your proposal is going over quite well, Donald, with Erdogan and the Arab world. mean, so utterly pathetic. Meanwhile, the IRGC Navy reports 25 vessels transited the Strait of Hormuz under Iranian coordination in just the past 24 hours alone. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy said 25 ships, including oil tankers, container ships, and other commercial vessels, passed through the Strait of Hormuz in the past 24 hours after obtaining permission and under IRGC coordination and security. According to IRGC-linked Fars News, the figure brings the total number of vessels transiting the strait under Iranian oversight to more than 90 over the past 3 days, and Iran has formalized its control over the Strait of Hormuz with Oman. The Omanian foreign minister was once the mediator handpicked by the United States back in February to negotiate a peace deal between Iran and the United States. Oman created a deal in principle between Iran and the United States, but then Netanyahu had Donald Trump invade and bomb Iran in late February after there was a deal in principle. So as Donald Trump is getting this warning from the Ayatollah, as Donald Trump is getting rebuked by the president of Turkey, as Donald Trump looks weaker than ever before, what does he do? Southcom. On May 26, U.S. Southern Command announces that under its commander, General Francis L. Donovan, the Joint Task Force Southern Sphere conducted a lethal kinetic strike on a vessel operated by designated terrorist organizations. We'll show you the video right here. Right, while Iran is showing its radar knocking down MQ-9 Reapers and showing that it has F-35s in its crosshairs, the U.S. is destroying little tiny fishing boats. The once proud Navy, the once proud CENTCOM, the once strongest military in the world is posting videos blowing up little fishing boats. And from what we know about most of this, innocent fishermen, innocent people getting slaughtered at the hands of a war criminal in the Oval Office and a regime of war criminals that should be brought to justice and held accountable for their war crimes one day. Meanwhile, Ebola is spreading right now. David Miliband posting, right now there are 3 warning signs that this Ebola outbreak in Africa could be particularly difficult to contain. Before even reading it, maybe because it's spreading like crazy in Africa and like no one's really reporting about it for the crisis that it is. Miliband goes first. The outbreak is spreading faster than the response. Yeah, because the Trump regime destroyed the main Ebola task force. Remember, Elon Musk was like, oopsies, I must have did it. They did it by accident. I'm not sure that's a good Elon impression, but we destroyed the Ebola task force. So yeah, that's what happens when you destroy all international health organizations. You destroy USAID. Why would we have people monitoring Ebola and containing Ebola? The outbreak is spreading faster than the response because there is no response. Second, conflict and displacement are accelerating the risk of regional spread. And third, severe global aid cuts have weakened the frontline health system and outbreak preparedness across the eastern DRC. Also, we saw some of these because there's no public health organizations that are really in control. And as the U.S. ceded its authority, what we see actually happening in Congo are some people are raiding the hospitals to try to find their loved ones and thereby spreading Ebola because there's not knowledge out there about what causes the spread, and people want to see their loved ones and they think they're being kidnapped in the hospitals. And so we're hearing lots of situations where people in the communities are raiding the hospitals, and then that's further leading to the spread of Ebola. And again, it's not even being covered here of any significance in the United States, but we're going to cover it here. So as of yesterday, official reports indicate that there have been roughly 241 deaths officially associated with the ongoing Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda. There is about 1,000 suspected or confirmed cases that we know of, but this has been increasing every single day. And if this continues to increase from 1,000 to 3,000 to 5,000, we can get one of these major outbreaks that people have been fearing. And Ebola is very, very lethal. I mean, large percentage of death for people who get Ebola. And, the Trump regime said, Ebola, waste, fraud, and abuse. That's wasteful. Why would we have anybody try to stop Ebola? Well, now our deficit increases, our debt compounds and increases. With the bond market's trash, the sheer amount of interest that now has to be paid on that debt is in the trillions. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene's posting the following. The federal budget deficit is expected to be over $2 trillion this year based on Trump's budget, the largest in history outside of 2020 and 2021 due to COVID. The debt passed 100% of the economy in March, and interest on the debt will be more than $1 trillion this year. America has a financial crisis that needs to be addressed more than any foreign war or foreign interest. As Americans, we were all in the same boat, regardless of our political leanings. And when the boat sinks, we all sink together and suffer the same fate. Make America Great Again should be putting America first, and that should start with getting our financial house in order. Speaking of our financial house in order, Donald Trump, believing that the White House is his house, not the people's house, was posting messages like this yesterday throughout the day. I'm not going to go in and show you all the deranged posts he's making, but where you have Ayatollah Mojtaba Khomeini making these warnings to Trump, this is what the leader of the United States is doing. So yes, every single day the United States looks weaker. The only president who knows how to fix the White House, and he's looking at one of the pillars at the White House because he wants to destroy the pillars of the White House and replace it with gold Corinthian pillars. And then you had the White House Rapid Response account framing reporters on CNN and saying that the reporters are sleeping. And they're saying, look, Dana Bash is falling asleep on her 51st birthday next day. Brianna Keeler says nap went perfectly after falling asleep live on air. Is Dr. Jeremy Faust sundowning? Look, we know that Donald Trump is cognitively and physically declining before our eyes. We see it every damn day. We see he struggles to walk. We see what he looks like. No one's buying that the Walter Reed visit was just some routine checkup. You are now, editing the medical reports. We'll get some sanitized version. You lied about advanced imaging and said, oh, it's a MRI that's preventative in nature, just of the abdomen in October. Everything from this regime is a despicable lie. We need to call it all out. But this is what the Trump regime is up to. And finally, as the Trump regime attacks Canada over and over again, the disgusting and despicable United States ambassador to Canada, who is despised and loathed in Canada, Pete Hoekstra, was asked by Radio Canada, do you understand why people in Canada don't like you? Maybe 51st State, you threatened our sovereignty, you constantly attack Canada. Do you get where this is coming from, right? It wasn't like Canada randomly got mad at the United States. It's like Donald Trump attacked Canada relentlessly, viciously, not just with words, but with actions, also inflicting economic pain on Canada. So you don't know why people get angry here? You don't understand that? Watch this disgusting individual Hoekstra's response. Let's play this clip.
So here you've got folks who are doing everything they can to get the Canadian public to rally against America. Just doesn't make any sense.
But do you understand where that frustration is coming from?
Absolutely no.
In Canada, because a lot of Canadians are saying, well, we didn't do anything wrong, and suddenly Donald Trump, put tariffs on us.
We put tariffs on everybody in the world. There are two countries that have retaliated against America. Okay?
China and Canada.
You said it, I didn't.
Well, there you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.